Are live. What's going on, everyone? Thank you all so much for tuning in at this time. Everybody that's here, I greatly appreciate it. Anybody watching this on the replay, thank you so much. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. So, kind of a bit of an impromptu live stream. But we have some time between now and the next Laker game, and I said I'd try to squeeze in a live stream or two between now and then. And we got all the crazy talks about LeBron James and, is he getting traded or is he not getting traded? What would a rebuild look like? Obviously, we're getting closer and closer to December 15th, trade season. We're 4 days away from that. So I figured, why not? Let's have a live stream. Let's talk about it and kind of go over important things, go over kind of our thoughts and our opinions, and have just a fun conversation, dialogue. If you are watching this on the replay, leave a comment down in the comment section. Join the conversation and discussion there. But start with the LeBron stuff. So I don't buy when it comes to LeBron. It's one of those things where I'll believe it when I see it. When I actually see LeBron get traded, then I'll be like, all right, I guess he did get traded, right? He's had so many opportunities to leave the Lakers, right? He's had so many opportunities to go elsewhere, right? Even when he first came to the Lakers, there were several other teams he could have went to, and that made more sense basketball-wise, right? He wants to be here. His family wants to be here, right? This is where he wants to be. The only team I could see him going to, if he was to be traded, is the Golden State Warriors. I could see the Warriors obviously want him. I think he'd be close enough to home to where he could commute back and forth if need be. I mean, the dude's a billionaire, right? Like, he could easily just go get a private jet or something if he needed to. It's like a 30-minute plane ride. But I don't see him leaving. I don't. I would be genuinely surprised if he leaves, at least this season. Maybe in the offseason, they kind of have some conversations that the Lakers can't get anything done at this trade deadline. I could see maybe LeBron and the Lakers having a conversation. I just want to see the Lakers pick a direction. That's it. Pick a direction. Either because I don't want to go and sell the assets, do everything we need to do to then go do a rebuild, right? Like, either A, we're rebuilding here, and if that's the case, then have the conversation with LeBron, have the conversation with Anthony Davis, get as much yield in return as you can get. Great. If you don't want to do the rebuild and you want to build the contender and try to win a championship with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, then great, do it. Sell everything, do what you need to do. No one on this roster should be untradeable outside of LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and arguably Connect. And then there you go, right? Like open up. Austin Reeves shouldn't be unmovable. D'Lo, Rui, any of these guys. All of these guys should be available for trade. If you can get the right moves, I'm not saying you just trade them just to trade them, just for good fun and spirit. No, you got to find the right moves. You got to find the right trades if you're going to pull it off. But I do think that the Lakers need to pick a lane, pick a direction. Right? Either way, look, we're Laker fans regardless. I'm going to ride with the Lakers regardless. Right? They want to rebuild. We'll talk about it. They don't want to rebuild and they want to go for contention. Let's talk about it. Right? I just want to see them pick a lane, pick a direction. Right? I don't believe we're insanely far to where we're hopeless to get in the championship. I think you need 3 high-end pieces and we'll be okay. I think we'll be fine. We'll be right there. Need to upgrade a couple areas, need to upgrade a couple spots, but I think the Lakers aren't that far removed from actual contention, right? I still think Zack LaVine is the best option available right now. I have a video that I recorded that I'm going to post probably later tonight, about the Pelicans, right? What do the Pelicans do? It's an interesting question, right? Do they just hit the reset button? If so, can you get DeJounte Murray? Can you get, Herb Jones? Supposedly teams have been calling about Herb Jones and CJ McCollum. I did a video on CJ McCollum just because I had so many people ask me for it. And I had a whole debate in one of my videos about CJ McCollum. Not me personally, but a bunch of people were going back and forth on it. So I was like, all right, let's talk about it. But I think the Pelicans could be an option. There's options out there for the Lakers. There are moves that are there. I still like the Nets trade. If you can get the full Nets package, get, Dennis Schroeder, Dorian Finney-Smith, Day'Ron Sharpe. Ideally, if you could get Cam Johnson, that would be beautiful. If you could kind of just get the whole shebang all in one move, I think now you're a contender. I think, again, if you get Zack LaVine, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Day'Ron Sharpe, there's talks that supposedly Walker Kessler isn't on the market anymore. I don't buy that. right? Like if a team's willing to trade somebody, they're probably still willing to trade them. I think it's just tactic. Like, okay, like we're not getting the offers that we want. We're not getting the things that we were looking for. So fine, we're just not going to trade them. But I do think if you get the right package, the right pieces, the right trade, I can absolutely see them still trading them. So I do think that is potential. I think that is a real possibility as well. We'll see how that works also. But look, there's options out there. And the more options there are, the better it is, right? Better. Because teams are going to, there's teams that want other pieces and there's teams that want similar pieces, stuff like that. But teams are going to, like, that's why I've said, like, let teams focus on the big names. Let teams focus and try to go get all these other guys and compete for this, that, and the other. Go get the guys you need. Go, instead of worrying about, and trying to get into a bidding war for Cam Johnson or whatever, go get Dorian Finney-Smith, right? Talked about it, right? All the shiny stuff is in the front of the store. Go around back and go get the real gems, right? Go get the things that help, that are just as good, that are reliable and you can count on. It's kind of how I look at this, right? Like, go get the pieces, go get the things that are reliable and you can count on. Try to put yourself in the best position possible, because I really do. I think the Lakers need a trade, right? Like, they cannot go another season without a trade. Right? They cannot go, like, if they are serious about trying to win a championship. But I still think Zack LaVine is the best option. I still think that, if you can get Zack LaVine, Dorian Finney-Smith, Day'Ron Sharpe, boom, let's go win a championship. But again, like, pick a direction is my point, right? With the Lakers, I want to see them pick a lane, right? I don't buy the LeBron trade rumors. I think they're all nonsense. We saw the same thing last year. To me, it's the basketball fan in me would love to see LeBron and Steph play. I'm not going to lie. Like, I think that'd be a blast just to see as like a pure basketball fan. Of course, I want to see it in purple and gold alongside Anthony Davis and LeBron James. I also think it makes more sense for Steph to go to the Lakers than it does LeBron to go to the Warriors, because what gives Steph and LeBron a better chance of winning? Steph, Draymond, and LeBron, or Steph, Anthony Davis, and LeBron? I just think that's a no-brainer. But again, if you're going to trade LeBron, right? Make the moves. Do what you need to do. If you don't want to trade LeBron and you want to hit the reset button, or you don't want to hit the reset button and you want to build a contender, then build a contender. Make trades, make the moves, do what you need to do, right? Rob supposedly has been active. The 15th is right around the corner. We're literally days away. Don't expect anything on the 15th, right? Don't expect to trade like immediately on the 15th. Supposedly on the 15th, they're going to start working out the Jonas Valanciunas trade, right? They're supposed to start having conversations, like more ramped up conversations about that. We'll see how that goes. But, you got to pick a lane, got to pick a direction. It's about what's really available, what's realistic, and what you can kind of squeeze out from teams, right? I mean, no one wants to help the Lakers, but with as many options as there are, there's teams that are going to have to come down. They're going to have to go on their asking prices, right? You're going to make moves and pieces. The problem is there's just not that individual move, right? That Lakers know that they need multiple moves, which is good, because they do need multiple moves. It's not like, oh, you just go get, like even Zack LaVine by himself, I think raises the ceiling higher than anyone else by themselves. But I still think you need more than just Zack LaVine, right? I think you need a LaVine and another piece. But I think, if you can get multiple pieces, multiple trades, you can get there. It's just, what moves are there that actually make us contender? I think those are kind of limited. So Lakers do have their work cut out for them. Also, what are the asking prices? How does this work out? But you got to pick a direction. You got to make a choice, and you got to get the best trade possible. You got to get the best pieces possible. I just think Zack LaVine, Day'Ron Sharpe, Dorian Finney-Smith is probably the best case scenario, while not having to sell the farm. You could probably keep all your first and do that trade, right? You could literally get Dorian Finney-Smith, Day'Ron Sharpe, and Zack LaVine and still keep both your firsts. So that way you could still make moves in the offseason. Like let's say you're close. Let's say you make that move and you lose in a tough 6 or 7 in the conference finals or something like that, right? Like, and you're close. One, LeBron could take a discount, right? He was willing to do it for Klay Thompson, DeMar DeRozan, and Valanciunas, and Lakers are better, or Zach LaVine is better than all those guys, right? Like, so it's not far-fetched to think he would take a discount again, especially if you're close to kind of retool, get a couple pieces that you need to put yourself in a better position. It's kind of how I look at it. But anyways, just wanted to kind of get those thoughts out. Let's get into the chat here, answer all your super chats, all your regular questions. So let's get into it. Also, real quick, if you haven't yet, please take a quick second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You people are beautiful. Let's get into it. Major coming in hot. $2 super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Salute, Tyler, salute. We need LaVine for the future. I agree. Look, I am as big of a LaVine guy as you can get for Lakers. I just think it makes so much sense, right? Gives you the athleticism, gives you that rim pressure. People talk about he's terrible defender. Again, simple Google search will show that that's not correct. He's not having the best defensive season this season thus far, but he's also handling everything for the Bulls. I mean, he's like their playmaker, their scorer, their like literally everything. The dude had like an 11-9-9 game the other night, right? The guy's like has to do so much on that team, right? And then to ask him to be elite defensively is kind of a tall ask. Where on the Lakers, he has LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Like people forget, there's a big difference between all the other teams that Zack LaVine has been on, playing with like Karl Anthony Towns in his early years, and Jeff Teague, and playing alongside, or Andrew Wiggins, and playing alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Even in Chicago, big difference between playing alongside DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic and playing alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis, right? He just opens up, makes things so much easier. And I think he's the right move, personally. But Major, appreciate you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Seriously. Wait, you're live streaming it? Yes, I am, Waja. I hope you're still here. But yes, I am live streaming. Like I said, trying to do, I know it's kind of an impromptu live stream. But like I said, we don't have a game for a couple more days. So I figured, why not? We're still like 2 days away. So why not do a live stream? Why not just talk about all the madness that's going on? Trade for a big, a guard, and a wing, and we're fine. But only one or none will happen. Yeah, like you gotta. I mean, I think you can't half-ass it, right? Like you gotta. It's one or the other, right? Like you either gotta make the push or you don't, right? Like it makes no sense for the Lakers to just go trade for like Dorian Finney-Smith by himself, right? Like if you're gonna do it, do it. If you're gonna go and you're gonna make the move, and you're gonna go get, and you're gonna go try to really build a contender, you gotta whatever it takes, whatever assets, whatever players, whatever. That's why I said I don't think anyone should be untradeable on this roster. If you have the opportunity to build a real contender, you do it, right? If you can go and get, like I said, a Zack LaVine, a Dennis Schroeder, Dorian Finney-Smith, and a Day'Ron Sharpe, boom, I think you're a contender, right? Especially if you can go get, especially if you can trade, reuse, or do whatever you need, right? Like pick a direction, pick a lane, make a decision. That's my point. Let's see. LeBron is gone this trade deadline. I would be shocked. Look, never say never. I'm not like stranger things have happened. I mean, if you've watched sports, not even basketball, just sports, period, long enough, like nothing is impossible, right? Crazy things happen all the time. That's one of those things I would be genuinely shocked. LeBron has had so many chances to leave the Lakers. The only way I see LeBron actually wanting out is if the Lakers go like, hey, like we would prefer to rebuild. Right, which I don't see the Lakers doing. I don't see the Lakers being like, no, like that's just not the organization they are. That's just not how Genie operates. They're never going to trade LeBron unless he wants out. And LeBron's here because of his family. LeBron's here because his family wants to be here, right? It's where his kids wanted to go to school. It's where his wife wanted to be. I just don't see it. Why did LeBron going nowhere? LeBron's going to wait on Facebook and LeBron send money. I'm assuming you mean he's not going anywhere. I don't think he's going anywhere. Exotic, salute. Appreciate you. How are you? What's going on, Blood? Appreciate you being here. Trade Tyler for 2 cases of Dew. Just 2. That's it. That's all I'm worth. 2 cases of Dew. I think I'm at least worth 3. 2 goats and a frog. Rob needs to stop being a pick hugger. I mean, he's said publicly that he's even willing to trade the first for a marginal move, right? But all the asking prices are insane right now, right? Like it's just you got to wait until prices come down, which I do believe they will once we move closer to the trade deadline. But it's just stuff right now. But they got to do something. He's got to, like I said, pick a direction. Either tear it down, start a rebuild, or try to build the best roster you can and contender you possibly can. Supposedly, Rob is going to look Jonas. He could have had him without giving up picks. Yeah. So, couple things about that. One, Jonas signed immediately. And it's because the Lakers were they were after DeMar DeRozan and Klay Thompson, right? If Jonas was like their number one option, I think he would have waited and he would have went and signed with the Lakers, but it wasn't. And the way he's looking at it is like, if they get Klay or DeMar, I might end up being, I might not end up having a job. Like if I have to wait, right? Like I might end up having to take a vet minimum or something. So he jumped on the best contract possible. I can't really knock him for that. I would have rather went and got Jonas. I know the frustration is like you're giving up something for him, but you're not really giving it. Like, what are you going to give up, right? Like Gabe Vincent in a second. Like, I don't really look at that as like, oh no. Like, I mean, the money that you would have given Valanciunas is the money that he's got, right? Like the second kind of hurts, but yeah, you could have used Gabe Vincent to make some other moves, make some other trades, but you would have had to salary dump anyway to go get Jonas. Right, so you would have had to given up a second regardless. My point is like if it ends up being the same thing either way, I don't think it's that big of a deal because the Lakers wouldn't have been able to just sign Jonas, right? They would have had to either trade, Reddish, a Hayes, whatever, and then LeBron would have taken the discount. So they would have had to salary dump a roster. No team's just doing that for fun, right? So you have to include picks. You'd have to include a second, maybe even 2 seconds to get that done. I think it ends up being the same result. The only thing you could argue is that, like, you still would have had Gabe Vincent to make some other trades, make some other moves. Sure. Yeah, that I think is, but I don't think it's like that big of a deal. But we'll see. Time will tell. What's going on, Mr. 81? Appreciate you being here. Hey, what's up? We need to trade. Agreed. Badly. We do. We need to get something done. Hopefully 15th is right around the corner, so hopefully something's coming soon. After trade for LaVine. I am right there with you, Andrew. Need LaVine. I'm not high on Dorian Finney-Smith. Cam Johnson is the better player. Problem is the price. Cam Johnson is definitely the better player, without a doubt, right? And it's not just about getting Dorian Finney-Smith. It's about getting Dorian Finney-Smith and other pieces. Problem is Cam Johnson, they want 2 firsts for. And one, he has injury issues. I mean, the most games he's ever played in a season is 66 games. Right? Cam Johnson is good. I like Cam Johnson a lot. I think he is one of the better moves that the Lakers can make. But it's about like what could build the best overall roster, right? Like trading 2 firsts for Cam Johnson isn't better than getting, Dorian Finney-Smith, Day'Ron Sharpe, even like a Dennis Schroeder for like a first, right? Like, because overall collectively is going to be better than just like Cam Johnson by himself. So it just depends on, what's available, how it works out, things like that. Learn Curry times LeBron. Look, I've said I would love to see it. I just don't see it happening, at least this season. Trade for Jimmy, I would love it. Look, I did a video on Jimmy Butler. He fits like the timeline for now. Problem is I don't think, look, no one would want to play LeBron, 80, and Jimmy Butler. Like that would be terrifying, right? And look, Jimmy Butler has done more with less than probably any player in the league, right? Like that guy has done literally everything, right? Like, except for win a championship. But the problem is like he's making so much money. The injury issues are a concern. I mean, people talk about Zack LaVine and his injury issues. Go look at Jimmy Butler last few seasons. And then also there is this, I mean, he's even been called out by Miami about it, about like his lack of seriousness during the regular season, right? Like, and I mean, he's a play-in team every year because he doesn't take the regular season as serious, right? And he likes to say like, oh, there's not a difference between playoff Jimmy and regular Jimmy. Well, the eye test, the stats, everything show otherwise. Look, if the Lakers traded for Jimmy Butler, like I wouldn't be upset about it. Like I'd be like, let's go, right? Like, I'd be pumped. But he's not one of my favorite moves, right? Because to me, it's just like, again, if you're going to spend the money to go get Jimmy Butler and all the trades, also, would Miami even do that? Would Miami be willing to unload Jimmy Butler to the Lakers and particularly LeBron? And then also, like, it's just what do you have to give up? What pieces you have to give up? I don't know. Just a lot of questions. But again, I wouldn't hate it. If it happens, I'd be stoked. Like, why wouldn't I? But it's not my favorite move. I'm not high on Day'Ron Sharpe, least favorite center out of all the centers in trade rumors. I'm not like super high on Day'Ron Sharpe either, but there's a couple factors you got to keep in mind. One, the cost. He's probably the cheapest out of all of them. Maybe not Valanciunas, but contract-wise, he is. Right? You basically can get him as like a throw-in tack on. He's 23 years old, right? So there's plenty of room for upside, growth, potential, all of that, right? He also, like his like per 32 is like 15, 15, and 3. Like he has like, I think, and then like 4 assists or something. Let me pull up. Let's just pull it up in real time. Let's see, Day'Ron Sharpe. All right. So here, let's come. Let's even pull it up on screen for you. Hang on, give me a second. Here we go. All right. So here. Let's look at this here. Okay, so Day'Ron Sharpe, right? If you look at his, just his initial stats, 5, 3, and 1, right? So far this season, he's shooting 50%. So let's go down here. Okay. So, like I said, this season he played 3 games, but let's look at last season because you get an actual sample size. 61 games, 15 minutes per game. That's the key, right? Play 15 minutes per game. He averaged 7 points and 6 rebounds, because it's not over 5, so we'll round down, right? So 7 and 6 in 15 minutes. Got to keep in mind, 15 minutes of action, right? Like we desperately need something like that in 15 minutes of action. He's also given 1.5 assists, as well as half a steal and a block, right? So again, production-wise, 3-point shooting, he doesn't really take many threes, if at all. 26%. He has had better seasons. This season, he's shooting 50% from 3-point range, but on 0.7 attempts. So again, you see the potential that's there, the growth that's there to stretch the floor. To me, it's more of his age, his length, wingspan, like what he provides, what he can do for you as a roster, as a team. Right? This is a guy that, in 15 minutes of action can get you, 7 and 7, still block a shot, whatever. And then the games where he gets to play, 30 minutes or whatever. Right now, you're in a much better position with Day'Ron Sharpe. Where's let me find the per 32. Oh, here we go. Per 36 minutes. Okay, so look at again last season. His per 36 is 16 points, 15 rebounds, 3.3 assists, a steal, and almost 2 blocks. Right, like that's huge. Right, like for a guy that, assuming he was a full-time starter. Right? Like that's what he'd be looking at. Right? Even like some of these other years, like look at the previous year, 15, 13, 2.5, 2, 1. Right? It was even his rookie season was 18, 15, 2, 1, and 1.5. Right? Like that's where like Day'Ron Sharpe, and again, he's 23 years old. Look, he's 23 years old this season. It's more about the cost, the age, the youth, the upside, right? It's all of that. It's multiple things, right, that really contribute to it. So it's not just that, like, it's not that he's this great, superstar player, Mr. 81. It's not like he's like, oh, he's the. It's just he would be a tack on that has growth potential and upside that could be your starting center of the future, right? If he kind of evolves into that. Obviously, per 36 doesn't tell you everything, right? Because he has to actually be that. And we've seen a lot of guys like in like small doses are really good, but in like larger sample sizes, they're thing. Again, he's not my favorite, right? Like I prefer Nick Richards. Walker Kessler would be ideal. But again, it's about what's realistic, what can you actually get, and what's the cost, right? And does he fit the need, right? He does. Rebound, he can rebound, be a lob threat, and block shots, right? That's what you need from a backup set. But appreciate you. They're not trading LeBron away with Celtics being ahead in championships. I mean, I think if LeBron, it's not up to the Lakers, it's up to LeBron. I just don't see LeBron leaving. If LeBron says like, hey, trade me or I'm leaving in the offseason, then what are you just gonna lose LeBron for nothing? You can't. You got to get something back. I just don't believe LeBron's gonna want to leave. I just don't see personally LeBron actually leaving. Can Walker Kessler not be traded anymore? I prefer Zack LaVine than Jonas. Val, I think we need someone quicker at center, not someone who's 32 and slow. So he can still be traded. It's just supposedly Utah is taking him off the trade market. You don't put somebody on the trade market and then not be willing to trade them all of a sudden. I just don't buy that. I don't see that. However, they don't need to trade him. They never really had to. But I think, look, if they get the right offers, like if somebody comes along and is like, okay, here's 2 firsts for Kessler, then yeah, I think they would jump on that immediately. They're just not getting the offers that they want because, what team, like Kessler's great, but he's still a project, right? He's not like so great. Like he's a great rim protector without a doubt, but you need more from him, right? Like, is he a guy that can really be your foundation piece for the future? If you're giving up 2 firsts for, that's the question. I like him because I believe he can, and I believe he helps now. Like, he's one of the few centers that solve what we need right now. And he's still cheap, all that stuff. But they don't need to trade him. They're not in a rush to trade him. And then you said I prefer Zack LaVine than Jonas Valanciunas. I think we need someone quicker at center, not someone 32 and slow. Yeah, I mean, again, ideally you want somebody that can, block shots and be athletic and floor running and all that stuff. Look, Valanciunas has his pros and his cons. He's definitely not, that floor running, spacing big, but he is a big body center. And he also is a guy that can settle things down, right? You see the Lakers a lot get into these, like, where they can't buy a bucket. It'd be nice to have a guy in Valanciunas that you can just dump the ball down to and he can just go to work, right? Like, he can just go get a bucket, right? Plus his playmaking out of the position. Like, there's pros and cons for everybody. Valanciunas, I don't think as a starting center is ideal, but as like your backup center, he's one of, if not the best. I mean, a guy that go get you a double-double, dish out, several assists. You can run your offense through him at times. Play that inside-out game. He's a guy that on any given night could go give you 30. He can stretch the floor. He's not like a great floor stretcher. He's not a guy that just like, shoots the lights out from 3-point range, but he's a guy that, you at least have to respect. And he has had games where he's knocked a couple in. So, I don't hate it, but it's one of those things where, it's tough. Tyler, I am so burned out on you talking about Zack LaVine. He's never healthy and we're not getting stuck with his contract. Well, first off, again, simple Google search answers the never healthy response. Is 77 games never healthy? Because, man, then 90% of the league is never healthy. If we're talking about that and getting stuck with his contract, again, like, what's wrong with his contract? His production. If Zack LaVine comes to the Lakers and they win a championship, are you going to be like, oh, but we're stuck with this contract? Or are you going to be like, wow, glad we got Zack LaVine? Right? Again, simple Google searches answer most of the questions. I get you might be burnt out about Zack LaVine. I've seen a lot of people say that, they're burnt out with me talking about Zack LaVine. But who's better? Who's better that makes sense that you don't have to sell the farm for? Right? Like, what trade are you getting that's better? Right? Do we want to be a contender or do we not? Right? Like, who's better? Right? Like, people are always like, oh, like, okay, well, again, who's better? Right? And it's not like Zack LaVine is it. It's not like you get Zack LaVine and that's all you can get. No, you can get Zack LaVine and you can still get other pieces. Right? So, again, I ask you, Dennis, like, who's better that we could get without having to sell all of our picks, do all that stuff, maybe even get a young guy and, like, because supposedly they'd be willing to include like an IO or something like that. Which guy is better? I know people are sick of me talking about Zack LaVine, but again, it's the best option. If there was a better option, I'd talk about that all the time. But again, what's the better option? Let's see. Rob Genie, if you're watching this, mostly Genie, either be all in, blow it up more than half and half out. Yeah, you got to pick a direction. Got to pick a lane. How about Lakers, Pistons, and Nets trade? What are you getting from the Pistons? I mean, the Nets trade, look, I've talked about Nets trade is, like, if you can get the full package, is probably the best trade you could get. If you get Cam Johnson in the deal too. Like, what would you be getting from the Pistons is the question. Is the thing. What do you think is better? Zack LaVine, Dorian Finney-Smith plus Davon Sharpe, or getting the Nets package with 3 or 4 players, mid-tier players? Zack LaVine, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Davon Sharpe. Right? because the other package would be, unless you're getting like a, which I don't see happening, but unless you're getting like a Nick Claxton in the deal or something like that, right? Like if you were getting like Nick Claxton, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, and a Dennis Schroeder, then yeah, that's the best package that you probably, period, right? Like now let's go win a championship. But realistically, let's say it's the other way. You're looking at Dorian Finney-Smith, Daron Sharpe, Dennis Schroeder, and Cam Johnson. Zack LaVine is equivalent to Dennis Schroeder and Cam Johnson, and you're still getting Daron Sharpe and Dorian Finney-Smith. So if you can get the LaVine package, but if it's one or, right? Like if it's LaVine or you could do the Nets trade, then yes, I prefer the Nets trade. Or if it's like LaVine and just like Daron Sharpe, then I'd go get the Nets trade. Just depends, right? Depends on what is available. Lakers need to hire Rob, and it's all his fault. So I even made a video on this on AS, the Lakers show. Firing Rob solves nothing. First off, Bob Myers, why in the world would he want to come to the Lakers and be told how to do his job by Jeannie Buss and Kurt Rambis and Linda Rambis, right? Like the problem isn't Rob. Well, don't know that. Can't because we don't know what Rob can do. Rob doesn't make any decisions without Jeannie Buss hand in it, right? Like everything, like Jeannie's when do you ever hear about an owner vetoing trades? We've heard about it like 3 times in the last 2 years because Jeannie Buss micromanages everything. No respected GM is coming to the Lakers to be told what they can and cannot do by Jeannie Buss and Linda Rambis. Like it makes no sense, right? Like if Bob Myers, look, I'm not against firing Rob. I've talked about it. Fire Rob. But to do what? Right? To just replace with another guy. Jeannie Buss needs to stay out of it. Until Jeannie Buss stays out of it, that's the problem you're going to have. As long as Jeannie Buss is the owner of the Lakers and can't get out of the way, you're going to have this problem no matter what. Bob Myers isn't going to fix it. Nobody's going to fix it because no decisions are going to be made until Jeannie says okay or eh. Right? I mean, again, Rob Pelinka had a trade done, finalized for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. We might have won a championship by now with those two guys. I mean, what's one of our huge needs right now? A center, right? Like you would have Miles Turner on top of Buddy Hield. Look at how good Buddy Hield has been. Imagine him alongside LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Miles Turner, right? We might have won the year that we played Denver, right? Because now you would have Miles Turner and Anthony Davis to match up, right? Like, it's just, that's the problem. Like, Jeannie Buss, until Jeannie Buss gets out of the way, you're always going to have this problem. And no real GM is going to want to come, right? And, like, again, like, what is Rob's fault? Because the Russell Westbrook trade is LeBron James and Anthony Davis's fault. Right? Like it is. They're the ones that wanted Russell Westbrook because they went to Anthony Davis's house and decided, hey, we want to play together. They told Jeannie. Jeannie went and told Rob, get it done. Make the trade. Right? Rob was trying to trade for Buddy Hield and trying to work out with DeMar DeRozan what was going to happen. Right? Like, so again, like it's just Jeannie micromanages too much. And until Jeannie gets out of the way, right? Again, you want to fire Rob, fine. If you don't believe Rob is the guy for the job, fire him, right? No problem. But you need to replace him with somebody that you trust in. If you don't trust these people, then don't hire them, right? But when do you ever hear an owner micromanaging to the level that Jeannie Buss has been micromanaging the last few years? You don't. You never hear about it. Because it doesn't happen. Why do you think GMs make dumb decisions all the time? Right? Tyler is an aging asset, and we got him in the 80s for a new washer machine. So 2 cases of due is about equal value 2024. You're right. Hey, I'm not Woody Harrelson in semi-pro. I actually watched semi-pro. Was it 2 days ago? No, like I was like editing videos, had it playing. Let's see. I'm 100% a Laker fan my whole life, but it's getting to the point where I don't prioritize watching lately. If the players don't care and give up, it makes it hard for fans to care. Hope it gets better. Well, first off, Appreciate you. Secondly, I've said this before. I don't think it's the players not showing up and not caring. I just don't think that they're good enough. Right? Like this has been a year and a half now where it's been the same problem. Right? And so we've had different coaches, right? We've had, like things have changed to try to get it to buy in, right? So is it the players are just not good enough, or is it just, or is it that the players just aren't showing up, or is it that they're just not good enough, right? Like D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, and Rui Hachimura, they don't have the athleticism to impact the game in other ways. They don't do anything else to impact the game in other ways outside of scoring, right? So like when Rui is having an off night, he can't defend out on the perimeter. He doesn't have the foot speed to chase down loose balls. He can't do the dirty work, right? Austin Reeves, right? When he's scoring, he's cooking, and he's drawing contact, and he's in his bag, he's great. But when he's not, liability on defense. He doesn't have the athleticism to chase down these loose balls, win the 50-50 balls, get back in transition, do all those things. Same thing with D'Angelo Russell. When D'Angelo Russell isn't shooting the lights out, what happens? Can't rebound, doesn't have the athleticism, can't defend, right? Like, that's the problem. So it's like, unless these guys are shooting the lights out and playing great, they're a liability out there on the basketball court. And if you had prime LeBron, you could mask all of it. But you don't have prime LeBron. You have LeBron that needs to take defensive possessions off and needs to take plays off, right? And so you have this just mess, right? Just adding athleticism would solve a lot of the Lakers' problems, right? Like, we need two-way guys. Don't get me wrong. We definitely need two-way guys. But, like, just like if Jared Vanderbilt was back and healthy, having like Jared Vanderbilt, Max Christie, and Cam Reddish in the starting unit would be shocking how much different the team looks, right? Offensively, yes, there would be concerns, but it would be shocking how good, just by the athleticism. Again, that's not a good idea. Lakers need athleticism. But the point that I'm trying to hit on and highlight is the lack of athleticism makes everything look worse, right? Because they can't do anything else when they're not hitting shots. Where like a Jared Vanderbilt, Cam Reddish, and Max Christie, when they're not hitting shots, they can still rebound. They can still defend, right? They can still make plays. They can still do other things. So it wouldn't look as bad at times as it does where we're just getting beat down the court every possession. Guys are just getting layups on made baskets. And like, that's a big problem. LeBron and AD at this point are still a championship duo. If the seasons were 16 games, the durability isn't there. They need 2 to 3 solid guys to contend. I'm not sure what they can do. So yes, I agree. Look, I fully believe that the Lakers can still win a championship with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, but you need to get the pieces, right? I've talked about it. You need like either a high-end guy and like a mid-tier guy, or you need like 3 or 4 mid-tier guys, right? Like 2, 3, 4 guys can do a lot and trade a lot for this team. I really don't think they're that far from a championship. I don't think they're like a guy away. I don't think they're like super duper close, but I don't think they're that I don't think they're so far removed that it's like, man, one trade isn't going to help and solve the problem. LeBron is the GOAT, but I'd rather just see him get traded to the Warriors. You at least know what you're getting out of that trade instead of trying another trade. Like I said, I don't mind it either way. I just want the Lakers to pick a direction. I just want them to pick a lane, pick a side, right? Like either A, you're rebuilding and fine, right? Like I don't mind. I'm not against a rebuild. And you could rebuild and still have probably a really good basketball team, right? Like if you could get Kuminga and Moody plus like Andrew Wiggins from the Warriors, and then I would hit up OKC, right? Can you get J-Dub and like Dort plus 5 firsts, right? Like, yeah. Now you got like Moody, Kuminga, Connect, right? J-Dub and Dort, right? Like you got a good foundation. At that point, I would trade 2 firsts, go get Walker Kessler. So now you got your center for now, the future. Walker Kessler's like 23, right? Like, so the only thing you would need is like a point guard. You can either draft a point guard or wait for a point guard to become available and then trade them. I would trade Reeves, trade Rui, trade Deal, trade basically everybody. Like tear it down to the studs, keep Connect, and then can you go get something like that? If you told me you turned Anthony Davis and LeBron James into like Moody, Kuminga, J-Dub, Walker Kessler, and Dwart and like whatever, 2 firsts, right? Because you traded some to go get Kessler. That would be huge. Absolutely huge. And now you're back in a position to where you could expedite that rebuild pretty quick. But I want to see the Lakers just pick a lane. Pick a lane. I don't want another project player like Day'Ron. I want proven veterans. I'm trying to win a championship. He's like another Jackson Hayes. I mean, he's definitely more refined than Jackson Hayes, and he's a better shot blocker. So there's big differences. I get you want more proven players, which is why I'm not against Valanciunas and why I think Valanciunas is probably the most likely. Again, it's about who's available, right? Like, and what else you can do. Look, I would love Nick Richards, but we don't even know if Nick Richards is actually available, right? Like, teams have inquired about Nick Richards. I mean, the Knicks have inquired about Nick Richards several times, and they don't even know if he's tradable. Like, no one's been able to get a deal done for him. And then Walker Kessler. I mean, Walker Kessler is my favorite, but trade him to the Warriors for what they don't have anything to make the Lakers better. I mean, if you're trading him to the Warriors, you're not trading to go win a championship. You're trading to hit the rebuild. Right? They have plenty of players that would help with a rebuild, right? Like if you're looking to rebuild, Kuminga and Moody are a pretty good place to start. Plus, you could probably play some hardball, maybe get like a pod or something like that in the deal, right? You'd be in a really good position. Let's see. Collin and Kessler are better than LaVine. Neither of them are better than LaVine by close. I don't know if you know who Zack LaVine is. Collin and I like Collin Sexton and Walker Kessler. I would be all for that, but they're not better than LaVine. And Kessler is untradeable. Also, you'd have to trade both first right now just to get Kessler. It's not even counting Collin. You don't have to trade any first to get LaVine. So again, at the price, at the thing, there's nothing better. What's going on, Brian? Appreciate you being here. LaVine mixed with LeBron and AD leaves almost no room for good role players, not only now, but in the future. Can't win with 3 stars and all below average role players anymore. Need more depth overall. So that's just not true. Couple reasons, right? One, Lakers could right now, again, you could go get Zack LaVine, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Day'Ron Sharpe. Let's say best case scenario. Let's say that's what you get, right? Say you go get Zack LaVine. You would have LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Austin Reeves, Dalton Connect, Zack LaVine, Dorian Finney-Smith, Day'Ron Sharpe. You're at least 8 deep right there, or 7 deep. Max Christie, there we go. That's who I was thinking of. So you're 8 deep right there. Not counting Christian Wood when he gets back and healthy, right? Like you have essentially 8-9 guys to finish this season with, right? Then in the offseason, you have 2 things that happen. One, you have the salary cap increasing, which it could increase as much as 10% with the new TV deals increasing. But let's say it only goes up, say like 6 million, right? Well, okay, that's 6 million that now you're under the second apron under the second apron. And then LeBron James can take whatever contract he wants. He was willing to take 20 million less for Valanciunas, DeMar DeRozan, and Klay Thompson. You don't think LeBron would do that again now that they have Zack LaVine, and if they needed a piece or two and you could go get a free agent or two? Of course he would, right? Like, simple Google searches answer these questions, right? Like it's not accurate, right? Like there's plenty of room to do multiple things and still make trades and still do a lot of things. So, what's going on, Nick? Mark? Sorry, seeing the Nike. What's going on, Mark? Appreciate you being here. What's up, buddy? It's not Rob's fault. It's LeBron's fault because he's telling Rob who to sign and draft like Ronnie and trade for. And Jeannie needs to step down as the owner and give it to her brother or sell the team. I mean, Jeannie doesn't have to. All Jeannie needs to do is just get out of the way, right? Like if she just got out of the way, right? Like you can own the team, you can do everything, you can do whatever you want. Just stay out of it, right? Like just let either you believe Rob can do it or you can't, right? Okay, if you don't believe he can do it, get rid of him. Go convince Bob Myers to come, and then just get out of the way. Just be an owner. Do the business side of things. Chill. Stay out of the way. You don't need the problem is her micromanaging. Why do you hate Austin so much? Austin Reeves? I have no idea where you got the conclusion, because I'm not against trading him. He's a role player. He's a very good player. He's a role player. He's not a star. He's not a superstar, right? Being honest is not hate, right? Like, it's not hate. If you could, like, do you really believe Austin Reeves is untradeable? So right now, if Giannis became available and they were like, we want Austin Reeves plus whatever salary filler, are you being like, no, Austin Reeves, man, can't do that? Like, it's silly. Austin Reeves is a good player. He's inconsistent. He doesn't play defense. He can't shoot threes with consistency. He's a role player. He's not a third option. Which championship caliber team would Austin Reeves even start on? Start on. I'll even make it easier for you. What, like, mid-tier team, like championship aspirations, would Austin Reeves even start on? Go ahead. I'll wait for your response. Let's see. Go after KCP. Agreed. If he was available, if he is available, he's having a bad season, but if he's available, yeah, I would love to go get it. We can't expect every shot to fall every game, but it's the effort when shots don't fall that is frustrating. It starts with AD and LeBron. The role players will follow. Coaches can only do so much. Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, you got, but that's why it ties into the athleticism, right? Like, when they don't have the athleticism, like, teams are shooting more threes against the Lakers than like any other team in the league. Why? Because the Lakers can't defend the perimeter. And then what do threes do? They cause long ball rebounds. Right? Like, so many people are like, we need a center. We need a center. We need a center. Center doesn't necessarily solve the rebounding issue. Most of the rebounds the Lakers give up are long ball rebounds because they're essentially 50-50 balls. But we don't have the athleticism and the jumping prowess and things like that to save those things. Right? What was it? Was it the OKC game? I think it was the OKC game, right? Great example that comes to mind. And I know Max Christie ended up blowing the game shortly after, but there was a sequence before that where LeBron got stuck and like threw the ball up, just like threw it up. And Max Christie was there, grabbed the ball, like literally out jumped everybody, got the ball, came back down, spun, turned around, got it up, and made the shot. If that was D'Lo, Rui, or Reeves, the other team gets the basketball. It's because Max Christie is athletic enough, jumps high enough, and was able to go and get it. If that was anybody else that was on the court, outside of Anthony Davis, of course, that ball goes to the other team, right? Like, that's the problem. Nets, Jared Vanderbilt, Christie, 2031st, 2:25 seconds. D'Lo, Bulls, D'Lo, Rui, Vincent, Hayes, 2029 first. Lakers, LaVine, Dorian Finney-Smith, Daron Sharpe, Torrey Craig, THT, $67 million going out, $66.8 million coming back. Personally, I don't want THT. I don't. That has passed. He's not the guy that the Lakers thought he was going to be. I'm not a fan of THT. I mean, he's not like terrible, but he's not what you need. He's too inconsistent. He needs the ball in his hands. If the rumors are true, and this was from Chicago, the reports came from Chicago side of things, the Chicago Tribune, that they'd be willing to include Io. You got to go get Io. If you can get LaVine, Craig, and Io, right? Like, at that point, trade Austin Reeves, trade whatever you have to. Go get Io and make it happen. But yes, I am with you. Here's the thing, though, too, you got to keep in mind. Lakers have to be able to fill out a roster. Right? So, yes, $67 million going out, $66 million coming in, but you got how many? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, you got 5. Okay, never mind. So yeah, you actually did do it, because I see a lot of trades like that where it's like the money like just works, and it's like, cool, you can get this trade done, but you got to take into account that the Lakers, like I said, you did it right, good job. But just to put it out, right? Like, you got to keep in mind when you're doing like the trades and the ideas. Lakers, if they send out 6 guys and bring back 4, and they only have $30,000 and they need to fill out a roster spot, they can't. Yeah, I'm right there with it. By the way, your videos are always entertaining. Keep it up, bro. Well, thank you. I appreciate you. Seriously. Thank you very much. This Jive Turkey's a little over the line, man. Yeah. uh, what is what is some off the wall players you think could be a real possibility for us? Rob normally gets players who weren't talked about as much. Um, that's the problem is that there's not really like it's not about like the players that aren't there, right? It's the players that like actually have an impact. Um, Problem is like we're still so far away from teams because I've done it before and I've actually gotten it right a few times. Like, oh, hey, this player's not talked about, and I think they happen, but it's usually like right before when we're getting closer to trade deadline because you just have so many teams that still haven't figured out what they want to do, right? So many teams that have like the Pelicans. Do the Pelicans want to sell the team? Try to go get Herb Jones, right? Like, can you like supposedly teams are calling about Herb Jones. See if they want to do that, go get DeJounte Murray. DeJounte Murray, I believe, is trade eligible December 15th, like something like that. It's just which teams are going to start selling the farm, which teams are going to start kind of hitting the reset buttons here a little bit. But yeah, ask me that question in like another month, and like once we get like into January, and I'll have a much better answer for you because I'll just have a better landscape of the league and what teams are looking for and what they're looking to do. Oh, that's just a rumor. Okay, it's just updates on the Sun. Sorry, I was just trying to make sure. LeBron James did not practice with due to personal reasons per JJ. Oh, here come more. Here come more LeBron trade rumors. So LeBron James didn't practice with the Lakers today due to personal reasons. So get ready for a lot more LeBron Laker trade rumors, everyone. That's right around the corner. Flyboy coming out $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Braun wants to stay, just wants a roster upgrade. Zack LaVine, look, I'm big on Zack LaVine. I want Zack LaVine back. Yeah, look, one, I think it's two things. I think one, it's what LeBron does, puts pressure on front offices and organizations through the media. Right, it's what he's always done. So I do think, yes, it's in part that. Two, I also think it's because it's the Warriors, right? The Warriors did this last season. The word got out that the Warriors inquired about LeBron James. So now it's like that's just going to be a running thing. Like if LeBron is on the Warrior or on the Lakers this year, guess what conversations are going to be had next season? Are the Lakers trading LeBron? It's just how it goes, right? It's media. I would be shocked. I said this before. I would be genuinely shocked if the Lakers ended up trading LeBron. Look, LeBron's had multiple chances to leave the Lakers and just hasn't. I don't buy that he's not leaving. I don't see it happening personally. But you're gonna definitely get a lot more. Like, get ready for a bunch of news. LeBron didn't practice, and there's all this stuff. Oh man, I can already hear the murmurs and rumors. Look, if it happens, it happens, right? Like I said earlier, I just want the Lakers to pick a direction, pick a lane, pick a side, pick a direction, pick a lane, right? If you want to rebuild, fine, rebuild. Let's hit the reset button. If you don't want to rebuild and you want to build a contender, then make the moves, make the trades, do what you got to do to go be a contender. That's all I want. One, pick a direction. But I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let's see. Lakers don't need a big trade. Just move the dead weight for quality guys. Our bench is terrible. Yeah, but the problem is like that is probably going to yield a big swing trade, right? Because Lakers need about like 3 guys really. So I mean they don't need like a 8 for 8 traders. They don't need like an 8. They don't need to like flush out their entire roster. To me, it's more about, and I've talked about this before, it's about dropping the pecking order, right? Like Reeves isn't a third guy. If you can why do I want LaVine so bad? Imagine LaVine in the Austin Reeves role. Think of how much better just that alone the Lakers would be, right? But then also Austin Reeves drops down to the 4th option. Connect now doesn't have to be your 4th, 5th, 6th guy. He now gets to be your 6th, 7th, 8th guy, right? Like it's just the pecking order changes too. What about Gary Payton II? Kuminga, Wiggins, Melton, 2025 first round pick, 2027 first round pick, 2028 second round pick, 2027 second round pick for Bronny, and would maybe trade 80 to OKC for Isaiah Hartenstein, Williams, and Wallace Topic. 5 to 6 first round picks, 3 second round picks. Yeah, I would love something like that. In my opinion, let them keep Gary Payton. I want Kuminga and Moody. Moody is still, 22, 23? He just has more upside, has had some good games. Like, there's the potential's there. And then, so personally, I would prefer that. Go get, if you're going to rebuild, to me, I want to rebuild. Right, you're going to have to take on Wiggins, probably Melton for contract purposes. Melton's expiring. Wiggins, you might be able to turn into something. But to me, Kuminga and Moody are the two guys you have to get, right? And then get the first, whatever else, right? Like, and then as far as the OKC side of things, I think, yeah, you got to get J-Dub, right? Isaiah Hartenstein, let them keep him. To me, if you can get J-Dub and like Dort, perfect, right? Because they have like Caruso and all these other things, right? Like, so they could part with Dort, and they're getting Anthony Davis, right? So if you can get that, I do think you need to get Topic in the trade. Carson Wallace, I wouldn't hate either. Get one of those guys in the trade. Look, OKC would probably give you whatever you want, because, I mean, think about it like this. If they had SGA, Alex Caruso, Chet Holmgren, Anthony Davis, they're insane. Like, they're winning the championship, right? Like, so yeah, you got to get Topic, you got to get or Wallace. I would prefer Topic, because he's like a 6'6" point guard that can just do a little bit of everything. You got like guys like Carson Wallace and J-Dub and Kuminga and Moody. You got like the defensive pieces and the athleticism. Although I wouldn't hate Carson Wallace. Carson Wallace would be awesome. I was talking about this earlier. I actually have a video done about this very thing. I don't believe, and I even said this in the video, I don't believe that the Pelicans will do that, but there are rumors that teams have, or not rumors, but reports that teams have inquired about the Pelicans guys. So if you can do that, sure, do it. Let's see. I don't understand why none of the podcasters do not want LaVine trade. He is the most impactful player we can get. I don't get it either. I mean, I'm surprised more people aren't on board with LaVine. I really do. I know, like, again, like people, it's like the contract and all that stuff. Like, again, the contract is not that big of a deal. Salary cap goes up next season. On top of salary cap going up next season, you also have LeBron who could take a discount, right? Like, I don't get it either. Let's see. Are you competing with Gil's Arena? LOL. I enjoy what you do. So I'm gonna drop my like, and I'm coming to watch later. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, is he going? Is he live right now? I don't know. I just was like, hey, let me do a live stream. Is all it was. But hey, I appreciate you. Thanks so much for the like. Thank you for that. Look, Gilbert Arenas is I mean, trust me, I'm no competition for him. He's far better. Zach's injury history is shaky, and he has not won anything. Here's the thing though about this, because I get a lot of people that are like, oh, but he's not a winner. There's only like 4 guys in the league that are actual winners: Steph, LeBron, Jokic, and Giannis. Right? Like, those are the guys that are true winners, that have led their team essentially by themselves, like with talent, to a championship. Right? Anthony Davis wasn't a winner before he came to the Lakers. Like, what did he ever do before he came to the Lakers? Right? Kyrie wasn't a winner before LeBron came. LeBron wasn't a winner until he went to Miami. KD wasn't a winner until he went to the Warriors. Right? Like, I mean, Pau Gasol wasn't a winner before he came to Lakers. Shaq wasn't a winner before he came to the Lakers. Right? Like, you know, the list goes on and on of guys that you can argue were not. Meta World Peace was not a winner until he came to the Lakers. Right? Like, most guys are not that. They have to go to a team, and then they fill that role. They fill that need. They fill that void to now win a championship. Right? Alex Caruso was not a winner until he went. He was a journeyman before he came. KCP wasn't KCP. There was conversations, KCP going to be out of the league before he went to the Lakers. And then he evolved into that 3-and-D guy. Now, look, he's one of like the premier 3-and-D guys in the league. Right? Like, the list goes on and on. You can make a list for a lot of guys that just weren't winners until they went to the Lakers or until they went somewhere else, right? Kevin Love wasn't a winner. Chris Bosh wasn't a winner, right? Like the list goes on and on for guys that just weren't winners until they went to the place in which they won, right? Zack LaVine is a guy that fits the need, fits the role, fits what the Lakers are looking for, elevates the ceiling, and now you got that piece, right? Zack LaVine he's not the first option. He's not the second option. He's not those things. You need multiple components to come together to win a championship. Aaron Gordon wasn't a winner until he went to Denver, right? Like, again, the list goes on and on until they actually hit that hump. So, Brandon Ingram's going to be out probably 2 months. So, I don't know. I mean, if you get him for essentially free, maybe. Lakers, Cam Johnson, Doran, Marcuse, Cesar, and or Beasley. Nets, Rui, Jalen Trevino, first and a second round. Detroit, Gabe Hayes. Oh, this is to that and Detroit trade. Gabe Hayes, first and 2 seconds. By the way, Cesar is a Cam Thomas with kind of Dennis-like ability. Yeah, I wouldn't hate something like that if you could kind of pull that rabbit out of your head. We can't have minor changes to be a contender. We need a splash. LeBron always had all-star caliber offensive players to close games like Kyrie and Wade. We don't have a closer. Yes, exactly. I am right there with you. Right there with you. Let's see. Hey, man, looks like you lost some weight. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know if I did. I don't think I did, but thank you. I appreciate it. It's probably just like growing the facial hair out so it hides the double chin better is all it is. Look, I'm a dad. 5 kids, dad bod. I work all day. Let's see. Tyler, maybe that torture Crowley was talking about was making you a Laker fan. It's very possible. No one in the history has been tortured with torture that you will be tortured with. One of the examples I see of getting off Reeves is if Herb Jones can come back, like maybe Reeves in a first for Jones. I would love something like that. So I have a video. I'll probably post it later tonight. It's already finished. It's already done. I just gotta schedule it and post it. I did it before I did the live stream. Finished it before I jumped on the live stream, so I just haven't posted it yet. But I have a video about Pelicans trade, like DeJounte Murray and Herb Jones, and trade Reeves, trade whatever you can, and go do that. But yeah, if you get a Herb Jones, I would be all for that without a doubt. Let's see. Let's get Ingram and Valanciunas. My problem with I'm not against Brandon Ingram. I've said it before. It's not my favorite move, if I'm being honest. My problem is now he's out 2 months. So, like, if you're gonna do that, you have to do like you're taking a huge risk that he comes back, he's healthy, and he can be right. I think unless they just like give him to you, right? They're like, we don't want any picks, we don't want anything. Just give us like or a second. Like, let's say they're like, hey, give us like 3 seconds, and you can have Ingram. Then sure, maybe it's worth taking the chance. But at this point, personally, I'd probably stay away. If I'm being honest. Let's see. What center should we try to get? Whichever one we realistically can get. I know people aren't super high on Day'Ron Sharpe. He's not my favorite option, but I think he's the most realistic. I think he's cheap. You're not gonna have to break the bank to go get him. Day'Ron Sharpe is probably something like that. Walker Kessler is my ideal. Supposedly he's off the market, but I don't buy it. I think it's just, we're not getting the trades. We're not getting the offers that we want to get. So I don't know, it's kind of one of those things where they just kind of have him off right now. But I do think that he'll probably be back. I think I still believe, like, if I had to, like, Tyler, put money on who you think the Lakers end up trading for, I think it'd be Jonas Valanciunas. I really do think that that's most likely going to happen. There's already reports that Lakers are going to start pushing hard for him once the 15th comes around. So yeah, Day'Ron Sharpe or Valanciunas, I think is most likely. What's the news trade deadline? I mean, nothing's really changed. Trade deadline isn't until February 7th. So you're still 2 months away from that. But right now it's still all the same stuff. Yeah, I just saw it. I appreciate you, dear. Um, let's see. I agree with you, Tyler, on the LaVine trade. But if it's not LaVine, just move the dead weight. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, look, I'm with you, Unique. I just like it. My thing is just like you're probably going to need 3 or 4 guys, right? Like, and also like salary wise, it's just I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But yeah, look, Lakers need a trade regardless. Um, I am right there with you. Did we trade? No, not yet. Nothing. Just having conversations. Just I'm gonna just fun conversations. All the LeBron rumors stuff like that. But no, nothing yet. Nothing yet. Only the Nets want D'Lo. Let's see. Sorry, trying to find something real quick. I think the news is just a hype and worked. I guess. Yeah. I mean, look, this stems from every season. LeBron, puts pressure on the front office through the media. I think that's part of this. Two, I also think because the Warriors and that news leak that the Warriors inquired about LeBron James. I think that I think the same thing will happen next season. Right? If LeBron's on the Lakers next offseason and we're not like a contender, I think guess what is going to happen? All the LaVine or not LaVine, LeBron to the Warriors news is going to happen. LaVine, we not in the right situation to get him so bad timing. I want LaVine, but we can't. I mean, Lakers can. It's just, will they is the question. Will they bite the bullet and get it done? Let's see. Dorian Finney-Smith, Dennis, Cam Johnson, and a center would be great for this team. Look, I've said I still think the best trade that they could get would be the Nets trade. If you get the full Nets package, get Dennis Schroeder, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Day'Ron Sharpe, I think now you're a contender. You're deep, you're talented, you're versatile, you got the wings, you got basically solves all of your issues. Yeah, I think at that point you're a real contender. Westbrook wasn't a winner before and after he went to the Lakers. What about him? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. At this point, we have to outscore teams because defense in this league is, yes, it's dog water. I think this team, needs drastic change. They're the same team from last year. We are not even top 5 from the West yet. Like we need, like I said, you need about 3, maybe 4. Like you either need a higher caliber player and some mid-tier guys, or you need like 3 or 4 mid-tier guys. Yeah, LaVine would probably be second option on many nights. Yes, I agree. Passing Ingram at this point. I wasn't against him, but now that he's out, yeah, exactly. Yeah, now that he's out for probably 2 months, I think, yeah, he cannot do that. LaVine would be great if his salary was 30, 35 million. His salary is not going to be as bad going forward. Like I said, you got the salary cap increasing as much as 70 or not 70%, 10%. Sorry. And then LeBron was willing to take LeBron was willing to take a discount last offseason to bring in Klay Thompson, DeMar DeRozan, or Jonas Valanciunas. Zach LaVine's better than all 3 of those guys. If LeBron James either A, couldn't make a discount or couldn't take a discount, or B, wasn't willing and open to taking a discount, then yes, I would tend to agree. But we know LeBron already offered to take a discount last offseason. If the Lakers are a piece or 2 away, he'll do it again. I would love that. I would love to go Herb Jones. I would, yes, go get Herb Jones. He's still 26. I want the Lakers to fire Rob and hire you as a GM. I would gladly take that role. Problem is that if Jeannie is telling me what I can and cannot do, I still can't solve the problem. But I appreciate you, Mr. 81. Is Miles Turner worth 2 first? No, because he could just walk, right? Like, I don't think he would because he's wanted to be a Laker. But, yeah, I could see him just – that's the problem. So, no, I wouldn't give up both first. What's up, Chris? Appreciate you being here. I think Ainge is taking Kessler off of the market. Is him trying to put leverage and pressure on Rob because he's not matching the asking price? Yeah, probably. Just teams, period. Probably not getting the asking price. So, what would you give up for Miles Turner? At most, hypothetically, we get Turner. How do you see the roster working out? Let's say For example, trade Gabe, Vando, and 2 firsts for Turner. Like, my problem with giving up the 2 firsts for Miles Turner is, like, now you're limited in what you could do, right? Could you get like a Miles Turner? He'd have to guarantee an extension that he want to be there. Does he want to go and test the market? If he wants to test the market, you can't give up 2 first round, because then he could just leave and now you're stuck empty-handed, which would be bad. If he was willing to essentially, like, if he was like guaranteeing like staying, then I still don't think you give up both first, because you need more than just Turner. It'd be hard to say no to it if you could, but also Indiana's willing to trade Buddy Hield and Miles Turner for 2 firsts. So Miles Turner by himself, you got to argue. Can you get something else? Would be my question. All right. But if you could do like a first and a pick swap and still maintain a first, I would do that all day. Like a first and a pick swap, I'm with it. Let's see. I can't wait to the trade deadline, and these trade ideas are hilarious. Yeah, I mean, it's what the fun part of this season is. The trade rumors, trade ideas. They have to trade for LaVine. No other options worth it. I am with you, Andrew. First off, coming out $2 super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Look, I think LaVine is the best option. I think he's the guy that makes the most sense. I think he has the biggest impact. I think you don't have to sell the farm to go get him. You don't have to trade all your firsts and all your picks and do all this crazy stuff. I think realistically, I think it's the best option overall. You can still make other moves. Like I said, you still go get a Dorian Finney-Smith. You still get, Day'Ron Sharpe. You could still, I mean, if you're willing to trade Reeves, you could actually do like several other moves, right? So I just think it depends on, again, what's available, what you can pull off, what you can get. But yes, I do believe you do need to go get Zack LaVine. I am right there with you. David, coming out $2 super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Ingram, Herb Jones for only 1 first. You doing it? If you could do both for 1 first, absolutely. Like, no questions asked. Like, I would do Herb Jones for a first by himself. He's 26. He really is one of those. He's what we want Jared Vanderbilt to be, right? 3-and-D wing, like that 6'8" size, can defend essentially 1 through 4, can play essentially 2 through 4. I really like Herb Jones. Like I said, I made a video. It's already done. I just have to schedule it. I'll probably post it couple hours, probably around 4, because I'll let this live stream. I'm going to wrap up the live stream here shortly, but I'll probably finish the live stream and then let the live stream marinate for a little bit, and then upload that video. But I have a video talking about it. Would they be willing to trade DeJounte Murray? If you get DeJounte Murray and Herb Jones, I would essentially give what everyone, right? Like if you told me Lakers traded Austin Reeves, 2 firsts, and a pick swap, and got DeJounte Murray and Herb Jones, beautiful. Then trade whatever else you have left to go get Dorian Finney-Smith and Day'Ron Sharpe, because I don't think that would cost a first to go get that. Or even if it's just like Day'Ron Sharpe or something like that, fine. Right? If you told me you got DeJounte Murray, Herb Jones, those 2 by themselves, I think would put you pretty close. Brandon Ingram, I wouldn't hate getting Brandon Ingram. All right. If you could get Herb Jones for a first, yes. If they were like, you have to take Brandon Ingram to get Herb Jones, sure. Right? Like, yes, I would do it. 100%. But I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Super chat. All right, where was I in? Sorry, it refreshed. Give me a second. So funny. People talk about Zack LaVine's health, and it's just getting Brandon Ingram. LaVine is consistently the healthier player of the 2. Yeah, Brandon Ingram is actually what people say Zack LaVine is, like health-wise and stuff. Like it is. It is pretty interesting. Hope I'm wrong, but I doubt anything of substance will happen. I mean, it's very possible, right? Nothing's getting done until it gets done, right? Everything's rumor, everything's speculation, everything's just talk until it actually gets done. So, I only want to see possible targets from the Hornets, Nets, Bulls, and Wizards. I mean, yeah, Bulls, Valanciunas, yeah. I'm not. LaVine brings excitement, high-flying dunks, and jump shots, 3-point threat. All of these give energy. Plus, he's hyper-athletic, applies rim pressure. He's not as bad of a defender as people like pretend that he is. Again, simple Google search answers most of people's questions, and a simple Google search would show most people are wrong about their assessment of Zack LaVine. Tyler, Dyson Daniels, Dorian Finney-Smith, Nick Richards, Herb Jones. I would love that. I do not see Atlanta trading Dyson Daniels. Dyson Daniels has been fantastic. I mean, he's been everything and more that the Atlanta Hawks have needed. And Atlanta does have our pick, right? I think that they would give us a trade just because they want to get off a trade. But Dyson Daniels, he's young. He's been really good for them. I don't see that. Dorian Finney-Smith, Nick Richards, and Herb Jones, I think is a possibility. I still don't buy that the Pelicans are going to trade Herb Jones. I even said it in the video that I made earlier. But yeah, I mean, if you could get any of those guys, go ahead and do it. Get it done. Jonas, LaVine, Vu, Cam, Dennis, Dorian Finney-Smith. All I want to see on this team. I'm with you. There's no viable option for play-in to contender besides Zack LaVine trade. Yes, he is the highest ceiling raiser, without a doubt. Without a doubt. For LaVine and Io, send their Portland first to Brooklyn and second for Dorian Finney-Smith, possibly Dennis as well. Yeah, get it happen. Like I said, I think everyone should be available any day. Let's say they get LaVine. Who's going to be gone for him? Probably Rui, D'Lo, and Gabe Vincent. If they want something else, you kind of work it out. But most likely, it'll probably be D'Lo, Rui, Gabe Vincent. D'Lo's an expiring contract. Gabe Vincent and Rui Hachimura would be on their last year of their deal next season, so they're very tradable for them. So they could probably get some assets for them. Maybe it's a 3-team deal. Maybe a team wants Rui and they could get him essentially for free. Maybe clear some salary off or something. Yeah, he is. How about Jimmy Buckets? Okay, so I actually made a video on Jimmy Butler last night. So if anyone wants like more in-depth details, go check it out. But I don't hate the idea of Jimmy Butler. I am not a fan of the idea of Jimmy Butler just because, one, injury issues, right? Like people worried about Zack LaVine and his injury issues. Go check out Jimmy Butler the last few seasons, and he's missed the playoffs, which is a problem. He doesn't take the regular season serious. Like it's like a real problem. I mean, even Miami's called him out about it, right? That's a concern about that. Look, if the Lakers traded for Jimmy Butler, believe me, I'm going to be talking like we just signed the GOAT, right? Like I'll be talking so much mess. But I do have my concerns, just like fit-wise. He does solve the dirty work. And one of the things that I like about Jimmy Butler is he's a star, but he doesn't care. Like he doesn't care if he gets 5 or 50, right? Like you need me to go just play defense, do the dirty work, rebound, do whatever. You're cooking. Here, go ahead, keep cooking, right? Like I don't hate the idea. If it was to happen, great. It's not my favorite move. It's not something I would go like rush to do. Yeah, he's out for 2 months. Great. D'Lo, any combination will work. Yeah. AO is 24, young, has upside, but can fit in a higher quality combo guard role player on a contender. Yeah, I agree. Io is a guy that, yes, if you can get him in a Zack LaVine trade, you got to get it done. Andrew, yes. Coming out $2 super chat. Thanks so much. They have to be willing to trade AR. He's a handicap. Look, I think that if you're serious about being a contender, I don't think anyone outside of LeBron James and Anthony Davis should be untradeable, right? Everybody should be an option on this roster to be traded. That doesn't mean you just trade guys. That doesn't mean you just sell guys just to sell them. But yes, if you can turn, right, like let's say you go do the LaVine trade, right? And then if you could turn AR and another piece into a Herb Jones or something, like, why wouldn't you do that, right? Like, nobody on this roster should be untradeable. You don't trade guys just to trade them, but Austin Reeves isn't so good he's untradeable. He's a role player. He's a very good player. He's solid, but he's not so good he's untradeable. He is a role player. So I'm right there with you. 100%, Andrew. Hypothetically, we know they aren't trading Reeves, him, and AD push to keep D'Lo too yet. I don't think that they trade as much as I think that they should trade Reeves. If the right trade is there, I'm for LaVine, Dorian Finney-Smith, Sharpe. I'm right there with you. Let Mavs, Rockets, Warriors worry about him yet. Zach, Io, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Sharpe will be a championship team this season. I agree. That's my ideal trade would be that. My perfect world trade would be that just instead of Sharpe, it's Kessler, but I would be more than happy to settle for that. Let's see. Should I try to find something? Austin Reeves, Jalen Hood-Schifino, and 2 firsts for Herb Jones and Alvarado. You doing it? Yeah. Yeah, just because I would do whatever it took to get Herb Jones, I would do it. You're talking about, again, a 6'8", versatile wing that is legit 3 and D, an all defensive player. All defense player, literally versatile. I mean, he is exactly what this team needs, like desperately. Give you athleticism, give you rebounding, gives you everything. Wish we could do D'Lo, Max, Jalen Trufino for Jones. Yeah, that would be great. But you got to give something to get something. We need Zach. I'm right there with you. Give me Brandon Miller. I would love Brandon Miller from the Hornets, but LaVine is a great player and would be a good fit to this team. The problem is it's hard for you to address all your other problems after trading from. I mean, look, if you got Zach LaVine, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Day'Ron Sharpe, right? That solves. But you got your 3-and-D wing. You got your bucket getter, right? You could use a point of attack guard, but you'd also clear off roster spots. Go bring in, a Markelle Fultz or Alferne Simons, right? Now you have your point of attack. If you're willing to trade Reeves, you could go get that other. You could get that guard piece, right? Like, I think you'd be fine. Right? And then in the offseason, you have plenty of room to retool and do what you know. Go trade for DeJounte Murray, Brandon Ingram, Herb Jones for first. Problem is you wouldn't be able to get all three. I mean, they traded 2 firsts and Dyson Daniels for DeJounte Murray. The problem is you're probably looking at 2 firsts for Herb Jones and 2 firsts for Murray. I don't think you'd be able to get all of them. I said if you could get Herb Jones, if you could get like Zack LaVine, in the video I said, what was it? Austin Reeves, 2 firsts, a pick swap, and then whatever other filler that they want, maybe Max Christie, something like that for Murray and Herb, I would do it. Brandon Ingram, you could probably get for dirt cheap, but Murray and Max and a first-round pick for Cam Johnson. Grab 2 seconds for Jonas. D'Lo will go to Brooklyn. So you can get Dorian Finney-Smith and Dennis and Dorian Finney-Smith. I would not be against that at all. Damn, I would hate to lose Rui, be a little bit all. I want to see it chip. Yeah. Look, I like both guys, but, got to get what you can get. Yes, DeJounte Murray. Look, if I still don't buy that they'll trade him, but if they do, yes, you got to go get him. With AD on LA. DeJounte is available December 15th. Yes. I made a video. I haven't posted it yet because I went to do the live stream. But yeah, I have a video scheduled. I'll probably schedule it for, 4 o'clock, something like that, 4 or 5, about a Pelicans trade. Yeah, you can do it before Christmas. Be a nice little Christmas gift. How fast do y'all think we see a trade after Sunday? I think it'll probably be a couple days. I would love if a trade gets done like on the day, but realistically, I think it'll be, probably, within like the week. Jones and Alvarado in that move, and Gabe 2 seconds for Val. Get Vando back. Get Vando back here. Do we have an idea of what the Bulls want for LaVine? Her Bulls still want too much for LaVine and Vuce. Well, according to reports, they only want 2 seconds for Vucevic. Zack LaVine, they supposedly they don't want to take a bad deal, which is the problem. Like most teams want, take these bad contracts and we'll take LaVine. They don't want to do that, so that's the problem. But supposedly they don't want like picks or anything crazy like that. I like Vucevic over Jonas as well. The problem is one is 10 million, one's technically 9.9 million, and one's 20 million. The reason I don't like Vu over Jonas is because you would have to, if you were the Lakers, like you could get Jonas and Dorian Finney-Smith or Valanciunas. I would rather Jonas and Dorian Finney-Smith. My perfect trade world: Sexton, Dennis, Kessler, Sharpe, Dorian Finney-Smith. I think it's possible if we move protection 2027 pick and add 29 first and get Brooklyn 31 lightly protected in seconds. And you get Sexton, Dennis, Kessler, Sharpe, Dorian Finney-Smith. I would be all for that. But yeah, Kessler is supposedly off the market. I don't buy that. I think, you don't put somebody on the market and then take them off like a week later. I think, honestly, it's just they weren't getting the looks that they wanted, so they pulled them off. But anyway, let's see. The report about Vucevic were based on league sources saying he would be willing to pay 2 seconds. Rumor is Bulls want more than that. The asking price and what they'll settle for are always 2 different things. That's something you got to keep in mind, right? Like asking price, guys say that they want 2 firsts for everything. Like, what will they actually take? And what does the market predict, right? If Vucevic if people only offering 2 seconds, then guess what? He's only worth 2 seconds, right? Like, assets are only worth what people will pay for. So that's something you got to keep in mind. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, I'm going to skate on out of here. Been going an hour and a half. Got some more videos and stuff to catch up, and I got to go make thumbnails and post that video I was telling you about the Pelicans stuff. Get a couple more videos done, all that stuff. So I appreciate you guys. When's our next game? What, Friday? I'll try to see if I can do a live stream tomorrow. Maybe if I can get one done tomorrow, I'll do a live stream. We'll talk some more. But thank you all so much for hanging out with me. Seriously, I really appreciate it. On your way out, if you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I am 6 subs away from 23,600. So I know that there are 6 of you that are available. So please take a quick second, hit that subscribe button. Everyone that gave me super chats, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.